Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi, Leah.
Hello. I love the numbers. They're going up and up as we go. Everybody's joining.
That's what we like to see here.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you were in the last session, how high-performing nonprofits eliminate silos with one team and one system, I hope that you found that as impactful as you're going to find our session today. Um, we'll get started here in just a few seconds as everybody comes filing in. In the meantime, let's get to know each other. So use your chat and say your name and where you're joining from. But keeping in the fun theme of the last session where they had a fun icebreaker, I thought today I would say, what's one fundraising idea that you've seen that made you think, that's actually genius. So drop that in the comments as well, because I want to see some fun ideas coming through. And I know Charlene and Mark will be sharing some
We're
as well.
going to be
Um,
looking at that chat too.
I know. Keep an eye on the chat and see if we have some fun ideas. Um, I see everybody putting their name in. So I'm going to start with a little bit of introduction of myself. So my name is Leah Renn, and I'm a nonprofit solution consultant here. I'm located in Georgia. Um, and we're going to go ahead and dive in. For those who may not know or are as familiar with Giveffect, Giveffect is an all-in-one nonprofit platform that brings together the tools organizations needed to operate effectively, including donor management, volunteer management, CRM marketing, and more. One of our goals is to help nonprofits run smoothly, improve operational efficiency, strengthen financial stability, and ultimately further their mission. Before we dive in and I do introductions, I do have a few brief housekeeping notes. For this session, please feel free to continue using the chat. Hi, Gloria. Hi, Mary Beth. Hi, Ryan. Um, and make sure to put in your questions. Leave questions in the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom page throughout the session. We do have a moderator, Nicole, who's reviewing questions, and we'll get to as many as we can in the end. Now, let me dive into introductions of Mark and Charlene. Um, most nonprofits are working really hard to raise the funds they need, right? But for so many organizations, a large portion of that revenue still comes from a few places, one event, one campaign, or one major grant. And when something shifts, like the donor behavior, government funding, or even how an event performs, you feel it instantly, right? Sweaty palms, sweaty everywhere,
Mhm.
and all of it. So the question becomes, how do you move from reacting year to year to building something more predictable, more balanced, and more resilient? And that's why we're here today. So we are joined by Mark from Hope for Youth and Charlene from Big Brothers Big Sister of Coastal and Northern New Jersey. And they're both doing this work inside their organization. So, as you're joining us today, I want to anchor on three things that we're going to be discussing. How are you, or how are they diversifying revenue? What are they scaling that already works? And how are they leveraging their community, not just their internal team? Because this doesn't happen all at once, it's built intentionally over time. So, Charlene, Mark, give us a quick overview about yourself, your role, your organization, maybe the size and scale, and what you actually own when it comes to fundraising for your teams.
You want me to jump in first?
Sure, let's go, Charlene.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Charlene. I'm the Associate Director of Development at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Coastal and Northern New Jersey. And at Big Brothers Big Sisters, we create and professionally support one-to-one youth mentoring relationships that help young people reach their full potential. At the root of our mission, we know that every child has the potential to succeed, and our goal is to make sure that they have the people in their corner that they need to really uncover that potential for them. Through these relationships, we empower youth to achieve greater confidence, achieve educational success, and reach a brighter future. Our team at Big Brothers Big Sisters, we're around 29. We just lost somebody's last day today. We're really excited for her to move on, but so we're going to be at 28 tomorrow. 6 of those employees are on our development team. We serve 10 counties across New Jersey, and we currently serve over 2,000 children through one-to-one mentorship. So I've
Wow.
personally been with the agency for 16 years, so I've been a big part of the growth and um, worn many hats.
I love it. Thank you, Charlene.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. My name's Mark McNamer. I'm the Associate Director at Hope for Youth. We are in the northwest suburbs of Minneapolis. So we serve young people that are homeless or at risk of being homeless. I say young people, I mean 16 to 24-year-olds is our age range. So we really work with young people on basic needs, housing, education, employment, and really focus on social emotional well-being and getting them kind of reconnected and moving them forward with a sense of hope as they move into adulthood. So we are about a $2.9 million a year organization. We have 23 employees, not all full-time. And I've been with the organization for 6 years and have 30 plus years kind of in nonprofit work in the Twin Cities area. So
I love it. We've got some experts here, right? So we're gonna set the stage and we're gonna hop into that first question right here. Um, when you think about your fundraising today, what are the main revenue streams your organization relies on? Let's have a Mark. Do you want to take that one first?
sure, yeah. So we really have a pretty broad range of kind of streams. We have about 16% individual, 4% civic faith, about 11% corporate, 20% government. We do receive about 28% of our revenue comes from in-kind contributions, whether it's food donations or just in-kind services. And then special events is around 12%.
Gotcha. And
All
Charlene?
right. So for Big Brothers Big Sisters, our operating budget is 3.6 million this year. 36% of that is government funding, 18% is grants. And then for my department, 18% is special events, 16% is individual and corporate giving. And then we've got a smaller amount, 7% in interest and dividends, 5% in our school funding.
Yep. So I mean, exactly why you guys are here as the experts, right? You guys have built multiple streams that work together, and that's really the foundation of predictability, right? And the importance of understanding all facets of your available fundraising streams. So we're gonna bring this to life with some real examples here. Both of you are doing something really special. You're not just fundraising as a team, but you're activating your community to fundraise. Spoiler alert, right? I'm giving a little spoiler alert. Charlene, let's start with you and give us a little breakdown of Bold for Kids' Sake. And can you
I'd
walk?
be happy to. Yeah, we are in it right now. We kicked off Bowl for Kids' Sake in early March, and last night we wrapped up our 6th event. So Bowl for Kids' Sake, what it is, it's a unique peer-to-peer fundraiser. Oh, look on the screen, that's my team. I'm right in the middle there next to my husband and a bunch of my friends. But it's a unique peer-to-peer fundraiser. And what happens is individuals form a team of 5 to 6 people, and we encourage each individual to raise $100 to participate. If they don't reach that goal, that's okay. And what we really try and do is motivate folks to go above and beyond that goal. Why it's unique. It's something that anybody can do. Bowling is not challenging for most. It might be hard for you if you have a disability or something like that, but you can still come, you can still participate, and it's still a lot of fun. So it's unique in that it's something anybody can do, even if you're not good at it. And what we do is we really focus Bowl for Kids' Sake on It's how you roll, it's not how you bowl. So bring your friends, bring your family, reach out to your community, tell people what you're doing, and get your network involved in raising funds for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And then what we do is we use Giveffect. We have a campaign page. Everybody registers. They get their own individual fundraising link. They get team links, and we encourage people to share that and raise funds. And then the bowling portion of it is really just the party. It is the celebration of everybody's fundraising efforts. Bowl for Kids Sake at its core is a fundraiser, and the bowling part is just the party. So you can see on there, once our fundraisers arrive at Bowl for Kids Sake, all they need to do is have a good time. We provide food, bowling, shoes, candy, hula hoop contests, as you can see on the screen. We hire DJs. We really get a lot of volunteers involved to come and cheer on the bowlers, toss out candy if people get strikes. And what you're seeing on the screen here is one of our awards. So we give away trophies for the highest fundraising team and the first place team. And then if you see the one person in this picture is holding a bowling pin, this is our most coveted prize of all. It's our Team Spirit Award. And people, including my team, go all out for this. They dress up, they bring signs, they bring noisemakers, and whichever group is having the best time takes home this bowling pin signed by littles in our program. So it's a really coveted prize that people come back for year after year. I'm very proud to say that my team, we've been bowling in this since 2011, and we probably have around, 6 or 7 bowling pins. So we come for it every year.
You can almost fill out a lane.
Exactly. I think we might even have enough. I'd have to count. But what also is unique about Bowl for Kids Sake is it's a low cost event. So um, last year we raised $136,000 through Bowl for Kids Sake, and around 14,000 of it was our expenses. So for every dollar that people donate towards Bowl for Kids Sake, 90 cents of every dollar is going directly back into our mission. So it's a low cost event, and it's something that we can easily recreate and do. We have 10 of them this year. We already did 6, so we've got a few more to go, but it's just a blast and we keep it a lot of fun.
Well, and I think something you shared too with me before was like it's not intimidating. That's why you guys set it up this way, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's what's made it scalable and possible
I
to
think,
grow?
yeah, I think so. So what's made it scalable, it's not intimidating for our team, first of all. We know how to do it. We know the process. We know what goes into starting a new Bowl for Kids Sake event. And it's also not intimidating for the participants. Even if you don't want to bowl, you can join a team, you can raise funds, you can show up and cheer people on and just have a good time. Enjoy the pizza, enjoy the candy, grab a cocktail at the bar if that's what you're into, and just celebrate the impact that we're making on our mission. So yeah, it's something that's not hard to get behind and get involved in.
I mean, I think that's so fun, right? I've always wanted to do bowling events. So,
Yeah, it's a
Mark,
lot
do
of
you
fun.
have anything to chime in kind of on that side of the peer-to-peer and what Charlene shared?
Yeah, so we really try and utilize. We do a 4K every year. Where we try and bring that peer to peer teams, that type of thing. Similar to kind of like Charlene, we try and build some excitement and people dress up and that type of thing. And we always with our 4K dogs are allowed giveaway. You know, um, best dressed dog or pet, that type of thing. So
You guys,
those things are always popular to bring, I think, just excitement around your event and kind of
yeah.
engagement.
And you guys are working with youth too, so like it's important to have fun
Right.
and also celebrate everything. I think the key takeaway, what Charlene described here, is it's not just about doing work, it's about building something once and repeating it.
Right.
Right? It's what's already working for us and how do I run more versions of it without increasing effort. So thank you for sharing that. We're going to switch to Mark now, which we're going to talk about. Your team has taken a slightly different angle. You're not scaling internal events, but you're letting your community also create events for you. Can you talk a little bit more about Hops for Hope and how that works?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I would say this is an addition to kind of the internal events we do. So really, things like we utilize the campaign page quite a bit within the Giveffect system to kind of help us navigate these events. And our, one example is we do a Hops for Hope event through Culligan, puts it on our local Culligan dealer. So it's kind of started small. And then they rent out a local brewery and kind of do the fundraising piece, and we really focus on trying to support them in that. So we even have, if you can see on the picture here, it's a benefiting event versus like our 4K would be our event. So we really try and call it out even from that perspective. And I think one of the biggest things we've done around the benefiting events is really putting parameters and structure into place for the people putting on the event, but also our team, because I think anybody that's worked in a nonprofit, if you've been around and been around during an event, whether it's a gala or whatever, it's usually pretty crazy. So we really try and put stuff back on the people that are trying to put it together too, in a way that is kind of structured from the beginning, which I think is helpful.
Well, I think that, oh, sorry, Mark. I think that's like perfectly what the next question, which is what helped you feel comfortable letting others take the lead and run with it, right?
Right.
You kind of touched on it a little bit about the guidelines and the trust and the boundaries, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because people, they'll tap into our marketing person and our community engagement person, and it can get really overwhelming. So it's just, and I think, like I said, it's both external and internal, and allowing our team to say, hey, hold on a sec. We don't have the capacity to do that piece, but it's also providing, like the marketing, like putting a flyer together, and we have some basic stuff we'll do for events. And then obviously, scale of event makes a difference. I think like our Hops for Hope one is really, Culligan does a match. They do it through their Culligan Cares event in the fall. So it's kind of become a bigger event. So eventually, if it's a, when it's a reoccurring thing, we start to kind of build it in to our budget. We always joke with our event leaders, you've become a line item, so we need to continue to kind of build on those things. So
Yeah, talk a little bit about the unexpected audiences, right? It wasn't just Hops for Hope, but the unexpected audience in some of your other third-party campaigns.
yeah, for sure. So it's we do a Hunt for Hope, and there's a Clays for Youth, which are two kind of major events. Our hunt started as two guys. Actually, they're in the picture. It was one of their birthdays. They did their 10th event last year, and they said, you don't need to get me anything. Let's do something. And they kind of started with a hunt out at a local pheasant farm. And then also our Clays event kind of came from some board engagement. We had some people on the board that wanted to do something a little different. So, and those are events that, when you talk about homelessness, that type of thing, it's really a different audience that you don't always get in front of, just from the perspective of, who's out hunting. Usually it's not all males, but usually males that are out to have a good time. So they get to do something they enjoy. And we try and just kind of sell the message of the organization. And I'll tell you, we have a lot of crossover from those two events too, where people kind of do both now. And they're kind of long-term supporters of the organization, kind of financially outside of those events as well.
I think thank you for sharing as well. I think this is another big unlock, right? Each organization runs differently, and growth didn't come from doing more internally for that perspective, right? It came from letting others participate. And what's interesting is both of you are doing things differently, but also the principle is the same, right? You're turning supporters into participants into growth and kind of having a sustaining model by diversifying that, which leads perfectly into the next section, right? Which is let's see, I want to explore and where things get interesting is the donor conversion. So you've both figured out how to bring new people in, right? But most nonprofits stop there. They've got the person and they forget about kind of that next step. But the real question is, how do you turn those one-time donors into long-time supporters? So we're going to start with Charleen, and we're going to answer that question. How do you turn one-time donors into long-time supporters?
Yeah. So what I love most about Bowl for Kids' Sake and peer-to-peer fundraising in general is it's opening your mission up to so many new potential supporters. So Leah, let's say you're a part of Bowl for Kids' Sake and you're asking your network to support you. That's getting our name and our mission and our vision out to your network. They donate to support you, but then we need to look at that and think, okay, how do we turn this person who loves Leah and is donating because they love Leah into somebody who loves our mission and wants to continue supporting our mission because now it's something that they love and believe in. So through Bowl for Kids' Sake, and especially with the growth over the years, we've gotten so much contact information, emails, phone numbers, addresses for people who donated because they love Leah. And then we have this great opportunity to share our mission with them and let them know why their donation is making an impact in the community. So what we do at Big Brothers Big Sisters with our peer-to-peer fundraising is we start right out of the gate. They get a very personal email about their donation and why their donation matters. And what we really like to do is keep all of our communications, our stewardship emails to donors, very donor focused. We're focusing on what did your donation do for the kids, not what did your donation do for us so that we could do that for the kids. So we kind of take ourselves out of it and focus very much on the donor. So right away, they get a very donor focused email from us. Within the first month, they go into our email platform. So they start to receive our communications that are going out to our general email list. But then typically within 3 months, they'll get another personal email from us letting them know, hey, back in March, you donated to Leah, and this is what your donation did. We kind of have to remind people why they gave. A lot of people, we've had times where we'll send that email out and then somebody reaches out to us and they're like, what are you talking about? I didn't give you. It's like, no, I did. You gave to
Who are
support
you?
Leah, but that donation supported Big Brothers Big Sisters. So we reach back out to them and give them a very real number. This is how many matches we've created since you donated in March. And this is what that looks like for this match. So we'll give them a match story, a match photo, and really just paint a picture for them as to what their funds have created for the community and why it matters. Um, so that's really what we try and do. We also focus on if somebody donates over a certain amount of money, we pick up the phone and call them. You're getting a personal phone call from myself or my boss, our director of development, Maribeth Full. Like you're hearing from us and we're thanking you and we're telling you how much it means to us because I can't tell you how frequently we'll call somebody and they're like, wow, like I've never received a phone call from a nonprofit. So if that's one thing you take away today, call your donors. They might rush you off the phone, but it makes a huge impact on the stewardship and people coming back.
I'm writing it down. Look at
Pick up the phone.
that.
It seems really overwhelming um, to do it, but even if you're leaving a voicemail and they hear it and they hear your voice and how grateful you are for the impact that they're making, it makes a lasting impression.
So what I heard you say, and I want to break this down for everybody. Um, Intentional, right? You start with a
Good
plan,
intention.
you
Yeah.
start with the impact, you immediately thank, right? It's automated for everyone that attends and supports. And then within a 60 to 90 3-month window, right? You're
Mhm.
showing them the impact. You're then giving them next steps of how to stay engaged, and you're
Yep.
pushing that monthly giving and set the setting, right?
Yeah. So in that 3-month follow-up, we'll give the story, but then we also do a plug for our info sessions. So we do 2 info sessions a month that people can join in virtually to learn more about Big Brothers Big Sisters, the program, but also how to get more involved. And we always put a little plug in the PS for our monthly Visionaries program, which is our monthly donors. If people can become a monthly donor and it's that set it and forget it model, that's just a great way to stay involved. And I do have a quick little story. We received a purchase of 2 tickets for our upcoming gala, I would say a week ago, last week maybe. And I was like, this is not a name that I recognize. So I went into Giveffect. I looked to see if they're in there. They're in there. okay, when did they give? They've only donated one time, and it was in 2025 to a Bowl for Kids Sake participant. So even just being able to track that information, so then, we pick up the phone, we call them, thank you for supporting this person last year. We're so happy you're coming to our gala, and we can't wait to see you there. Um, it just makes the biggest difference.
Oh, I mean, I've done it before. I'm sure Mark, you've done it too, of who was this person and where did they come from?
Yeah,
And it's great to be able to see that historic.
it
Um,
is.
Mark, on your side, what are you seeing when it comes to retaining supporters and how are you kind of managing that?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of similarities, I think, with what Charleen is saying. But I mean, I think, and I'll kind of open with those phone calls and stuff Charleen was talking about. I mean, those are bucket fillers usually. I mean, those should be fun for you to do, right? We
Yeah.
do a lot of stuff in our work, I think, that isn't fun. So, I mean, it usually is draining, but also very energizing at the same time. So, but we really, again, trying, like, we had 400 participants at our 4K last year, so let's look at who those people were. We do a lot of the standardized, thank yous, that whether it's for tax purposes at the end of the year, but we always add those personalized, intentional, touches to people that are giving, and then we're opening up opportunities for people to come in. Either, hey, are you interested in volunteering? Are you interested in seeing our actual location, kind of offering those tours. And then from there, and I think this was actually brought up in the previous session, volunteers become donors, right? So if we can get them in the door, then all of a sudden they're more consistent, and then they bring other people in as well. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
really kind of the flow of how we're trying to do things. And it's reconnecting too with those people that maybe gave 2 years ago and disappeared. It's like, okay, let's reach out and just say, hey, did you see our annual report? Any questions? Just trying to do some of those softer touches as you kind of go through. And Giveffect obviously is a great system to help us track those things too. So really,
They were not paid for
yeah,
this. They were not paid for the plug.
I'm not just plugging it. So I
Okay.
mean, obviously, it's utilizing the data that's in front of you to kind of make those decisions and figure out, how do we make those 400 4K people that show up, more consistent donors because friends brought them and things like that. So
I know, Mark, something you mentioned when we were prepping was the debrief meetings too. Can you touch a little bit on that as well? Like why that's important for your team?
yeah, for sure. So we always, especially with even our kind of our sponsoring events, always do a debrief. What went well, what didn't go well, where do staff need extra support, and then just kind of track those things and make sure that we're doing things better as you move forward. So
And I can't remember one of you made the comment about pre-event looking at your attendees.
Mhm.
yeah,
Who was that, Charleen or Mark?
so I know for our gala we always, and we're pretty strategic too. And that's probably nothing new, but who's sitting with who. You can kind of move people around, but knowing who's in the building, knowing who's, oh, that's a 20K donor. They just gave 150,000 or whatever it is. It's like, we should probably know who those people are. And if they're coming to our events, just, I think it goes a long way if you're talking to people and you have an awareness of, what they've done and what they've given, that type of thing.
No, I mean, I think what you both shared right here, just alone in this section, uh, scale what already works, let your community fundraise with you, and build intentional follow-ups, right, to convert donors. That's how you move from one-time revenue to something more predictable and diversified in kind of how you're managing things. The next piece is we're zooming out now and we're kind of looking at specific tactics, peer-to-peer, community-led donor conversions. Well, we've talked about those. Those are very narrow. Right now we're zooming out and we're going to understand the bigger picture. Mark, I'm going to have you start. But when you look at fundraising today compared to even a few years ago, right, pre-COVID, what feels more stable or predictable now than it did before?
I know, just speaking for us, that the individual donor, I think, has become much more important. I think bigger kind of giving programs like, United Way and that type of thing, people are they're more centralized. They want to give right back to the community that they're in. So I think it's really important to kind of recognize that and make sure that, your marketing materials and that type of thing are really kind of geared toward those individuals. And again, whether it's $100 a month or $50 a month, those things kind of go a long way. Kind of another neat fundraising story, but we had someone every year for our Out in the Cold event give $500 a year. And I got the email after the event and it was 5,000. And it's like, oh, okay.
Did you
So
forget? Did you put an extra zero?
yeah,
Yeah,
so very,
Right.
yes, to use Charlene's words, very intentionally reached out to this person and just said, did you accidentally add a zero? And he said, nope, we've been 100% engaged in the organization, impressed by what you do, and we have the means to do it now. So I mean, it just speaks to that, even though maybe they're only giving $50 to $100 a month, at some point that could turn into additional dollars too. So
I, I like that. And Charlene, how about you?
So I would say year over year, we find so much information in Giveffect that we use to prepare for the upcoming year. So um, at the end of last year, we run a report and we break it down month to month. And where did our income come from? Why was it coming? Who was doing it? So that we can see year over year, okay, this person gives this time of year, they give this amount, and we use that to plan our upcoming year, and we use it as kind of a guidebook throughout the year. We review it, I would say twice a month, and it kind of keeps us honest on, okay, we need to do this follow up. This is coming up. So I would say just the more data that we have, we've been with Giveffect since 2015. So we've got so much data in there that we can really rely on and build on the years coming up and look at the years behind us and see what was working, what wasn't working. Can we rely on this funding? Was it a one-time gift? So I would just say year over year, it's just making sure we're looking at the data and understanding it and um, understanding it in real world. Is it going to come
Yeah.
back? Is it not going to come back? Can we rely on it and can we plan for it?
I think you also shared with me, when we were prepping, was the adoptability of your team. It was something that you touched on about
Yeah,
being
yeah,
flexible. Can you kind of dive into that?
absolutely. Yeah, and I think this kind of goes back to Bowl for Kids' Sake is our first major event of the year. We have five major special events. And Bowl for Kids' Sake, we budgeted $130,000 of our, I think it's $650,000 we make through our special events. Right now, based on the events that we have planned, the events that already happened, and outstanding funds, we're projecting to be around $20,000 short on Bowl for Kids' Sake. Um, Kind of going back to the growth of Bowl for Kids' Sake, what's great is since it happened so early in the year and it is something that we can scale and build on, we're able to say, okay, we've got this many months. I think that we can do two more Bowl for Kids' Sake events to make up some of that missed funding. But also we can kind of spread it out along all of our revenue sources and say, okay, well, if we have $20,000 that we need to make up. We can do a little bit in golf. We can do a little bit in our celebration that's coming up. We can kind of maybe reach out for one more grant and kind of spread those funds out between all of our other revenue sources and not have that pressure of, okay, we're $20,000 in the hole. What do we do now? And I did mention to Leah and Mark on our conversations before that even our executive director came in the other day and I was like, we're 20,000, I think we're going to be $20,000. And he was like, hey, like, we got this. It's fine. We'll spread it out. We've got our 50th anniversary celebration coming up. Like we're gonna be fine. Like don't panic. So, even 16 years here and our executive director and development director are always like, we're gonna make it happen. I'm like, let's reach that goal. But
The support, we
just
like that.
the
It's important.
support and the ability to spread those funds out and make them up in different ways is really very helpful.
I mean, I think it's both the points, right? Mark, the key, what I'm hearing you say is the predictability didn't come from guessing better. right? It came from actually having more data and more consistency to work from it, right? And what's so interesting is both of you again are saying the same thing in different ways and how you manage it. Predictability doesn't come from one perfect campaign. It comes from layering multiple streams. So if one dips, the other supports it, and really your community you can rely on, your annual giving, all of those pieces that play into the bigger puzzle piece, right? Or the pizza pie, whichever way you're talking about. So I can't believe it. We're moving to final takeaways before we open up into Q&A. So let's make this practical. If I can speak right now, I'm going to start spill. Before we wrap up and open up to Q&A, if someone wanted to take one step in the next 90 days to build a more diversified and predictable fundraising model, what would you recommend they focus on? And what's your takeaway? Let's go with Mark, your turn.
Sure. So yeah, I think one word I'd use is you just invest kind of in your infrastructure, whether it's your database system, but also the people. So we've over the years kind of invested in our community engagement coordinator, our marketing person. And again, those are not things that happened overnight. They kind of grow as you bring people in that help with those things. But having, those two specific positions, it's full-time positions in the organizations, you can definitely see the return of investment on those things. Because they bring, that communication into the community. The marketing stuff is huge, whether it's social media, and then just that employee engagement's a big deal too. So I would definitely say invest kind of in your infrastructure.
Love it. Charlene.
Yeah, so I think my main takeaway would be don't recreate the wheel. Look at your organization, figure out what you're doing really well, and just consider how you can grow that and scale that thing that you already do really well.
I love it. I think the term invest and test, right, and scale what works were kind of the short little elevator comment right from the session. I think that's impactful, and thank you both for sharing everything that we've talked about today. Now, let's open it up for questions. As we kind of have been seeing them come through, I'm going to check over into my Q&A section here and see where we've got a couple compiled, but feel free as you are listening, um, drop those into the chat or the Q&A button by hitting the more button on your screen. Let's see. This is a good one. This is from Francesca, and it's to Charlene. Can you share more on your cultivating monthly donors? Do you have a plan or anything?
So we started our monthly donor program during the pandemic. All of our special events shut down. We didn't have that predictable income. So we probably had around 7 to 10 people who already donated monthly through Giveffect. And we started there. We called those people. We asked them, why do you give to us monthly? What makes it special for you to give to Big Brothers Big Sisters monthly? Um, and we asked them what they wanted to see. We didn't have a program in place. We didn't have a stewardship program for our monthly donors. So we kind of built it with the people who already gave to us monthly. So we figured out across those 10 people, they wanted to hear the stories. They wanted to hear the impact that they were making. So we developed a program where people can give at any level. We kind of broke out the levels 10, 25, 50, and put kind of a name to it and what that amount would mean for us. But all of our monthly donors get the same thing from us. So um, we send out a monthly email. We make sure that they know about different things that are happening within the organization. They get discounts to our events, things like that. And then from there, we went out to our board, we went out to our staff, we went out to our longtime supporters. We made sure that we reached out to people who did give annually but we kind of presented it to them in a way where we could rely on it more if they kind of broke their annual gift into a monthly gift. So we gave them an amount. So we've really just kind of hit the streets and started talking to people who already support us. Within our
Yeah.
organization, as I said, we serve 2,000 children. So we also have around 2,000 mentors. So we reached out to our mentors who are volunteers. Um, and we have found over the years that it's more successful with people who already believe in our mission to get them to donate monthly. It's really challenging to take a brand new person who doesn't know us very well and ask them to give to us monthly. It just doesn't really work. So we've kind of gotten to a point where we know around how much we're going to make annually with our monthly visionaries program. And unfortunately, somebody will drop off. We'll get a couple new people, but we're kind of at a standstill. And I think right now it's around 3,400 a month that we bring in monthly. We're always trying to increase it. So I'm actually open to all of your ideas. If you have a brilliant idea of how to bring in more monthly donors, please tell me. I need to know.
Exactly. I love it. No, I mean, I think you kind of were even touching it on there. Don't recreate the wheel and trying to go out and find new. It's really looking internally at your current
Yeah.
supporters and engaging with them in another way. Um,
Mhm.
Mark, this one kind of ties in, or either of you, whichever one likes this question. It's a kind of a harder one, but how would you approach year-over-year declines in special event net proceeds and sponsorships? I know that was kind of an in-depth one. Mark, does that one, or Charlene, do either of you have kind of a response to that one?
I think I agree. That's a wonderful question. We found that this year with our Bowl for Kids Sake event, our sponsorships were down around $8,000 from last year. Um, and I would say with that event, to try and make it up in other ways, more sustainable ways with the fundraisers and the people attending the event. And it's tough when you get the majority of your income from those events from large donations, because then when you lose one, it's such a big hit. So, try and bring everybody back in, try and get new ones. But if that's still kind of not working, then shift your focus onto people attending the event, donors at the event, making
Or
your auction larger, or, just
or
trying
like you
to kind
said,
of,
sorry, Charlene.
no, please.
Like you said too, even at that point, it's about looking at it and saying, okay, now we need to have another bowl event, right?
Yeah.
And Mark, that's kind of what you pivoted to with your team is all the pieces, right? All
Yeah.
the different types.
And some of that's the post. Let's sit down and talk, I think. And we very often, it's that anecdotal, what are you hearing when you're walking around the event? I mean, those the small details matter sometimes, I think, or to continue to bring people back. But again, economic situation, whatever's kind of going on can affect those things as well. So just, having a full, I guess, macro look at kind of what's happening, whether it's in the community, nationally, statewide, whatever it is, just kind of having a good sense of why that is. Tap into your resources, call your foundation people, call your state people, all of those type of things, I think. And have discussions with, other leaders, I think is huge. One of the things we do with our kind of sponsorship thing is we're really trying to get out ahead of the game at the beginning of the year. So we put together a nice little brochure. Here are three major events coming up this year. How give me a call. Let's talk about which one you want to support or how you want to get involved. So
Yeah, it's
I think doing some of that stuff more proactively rather than waiting till 6 weeks before the event to kind of reach out to people and say, hey, will you be a sponsor? Will you give silent auction items or whatever it is? So just, yeah, maybe just some more planfulness around those things or things that seem to work for us.
Mark, if I can dovetail off of that, I would say probably 6 years ago now, we saw that we had a lot of sponsors that were doing multiple events throughout the year. And we did a similar thing where we created it's called our mission partners. So we took some of those people who gave to events and we came up with a package that said, if you give 10,000, 15,000, or 25,000, this is going to be everything you get for all of the events for the year, just to get those funds in earlier in the year. So I would say that's a great way, especially if these people are going to multiple events.
I love it. I mean, I agree. It's about being intentional and being proactive as much as possible so you're not having to scramble at the end, right? You're looking ahead of that. Um, I think we've got time for maybe one more question. Um, what's one thing you've tried that didn't work? This one's hard one, right? And what did you learn from it? Understanding that each community that you work in is different, as we saw kind of with your context, with your groups.
Something that didn't work.
I know, sorry, that was like a doozy one. We can
No,
also
it's great.
we can always come back to that one too if we're thinking about it.
Let me think
Maybe.
on it.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. This question is for a new Giveffect client, how do you recommend going about collecting and building out individual donor data? So I guess if you're maybe starting from zero and you're just trying to build out, is it through surveys? Is it through asking questions? How do you kind of build out some layers on the individual?
Mark, do you have anything for that? Because I wish
Yeah,
that we had more data on our donors, if I'm
I
being
know.
honest.
So we had, I mean, when we started with Giveffect, I think it's been 5 years now. We had like four different systems going. We had one doing our volunteers, one doing donors and so on. So um, we were able to transfer a lot of that info in to Giveffect, which I think it was helpful. So you have to start somewhere. We've been in our organization, we've been having kind of a lot of discussions around how we categorize people. Do they belong in civic faith, or is that a corporation? How is, a corporate foundation different than a foundation? So those are things you're not, I mean, I would just say you're not going to figure that out day one. We're 5 years in and we're still trying to figure it out. So I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know if that fully answers the question, but I think that's kind of the way we've been doing it.
I
Good.
know that, so as I said before, we've been a customer of Giveffect since 2015. So we've done a lot of, trial and error. And we always just say, bad data in is bad data out. So as you're entering your donations, make sure that you're putting in as much information as you can. Use your funds, use your sources, use the accounts, and that really helps you to see a bigger picture. So when you run your reports, you can see, okay, this person gave to Bowl for Kids Sake, but they gave to Bowl for Kids Sake for a sponsorship attached to this person. Use your soft credits. Just put in as much information that you can when you're doing it so that you're not questioning the information later on. And um, make sure that any interactions that you're having with people are being added to. That's really helpful for us, especially
Yeah.
when we're making phone calls. We always jump in and look at our interactions. Did they appreciate the phone call last time we called? What was the conversation like? Let's bring that back up with them. So just use everything that's there. And I always say you don't know what you don't know. So there's still a lot within Giveffect that I feel like would probably um, help us increase a lot of this. But just jump in and play with it and put in as much information as you can as you're entering it.
Well, I mean, thank you guys so much for covering kind of everything. I mean, from every part of the diversifying of your portfolio. So there's a lot we covered today, but one thing stands out, right? High performing nonprofits don't rely on one big moment. They build systems that can create consistent, repeatable revenue in multiple different areas. So if you take one thing, start with what's already working and make it easier to scale, repeat, and grow, and test out ways to expand or improve upon each one. Um, if you're thinking about how what you've learned today from Mark or Charleen applies to your organization, we are offering a rare opportunity. See the details on your screen. about our information. Additionally, I want to remind everyone that we're doing some fun um, throughout next. Each day, we're giving away coffee on us to 10 attendees. To enter, follow Giveffect on LinkedIn. Find a next related post on our page. And in the comments, tag Giveffect and share one thing you've learned or hope to learn using the hashtag Next2026. We'll announce winners at the end of the final session each day. Next, we are actually up to have a short break followed by our next session from local events to multi-state impact, scaling volunteer engagement the right way at 3 p.m. To navigate to the next section, simply head back over to the event's virtual lobby page or session page and scroll down to the next section and click join. We thank you so much for being here, Charleen and Mark. Wonderful conversation. Thank you for being a part of this and really appreciate everyone being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, y'all. Take care.